Hey KW Newtown, here is today's tech tip on adding neighborhoods to your contact records and the benefits of utilizing the Neighborhood Nurture Smart Plans available to you right now, because it's giving neighborhood specific and hyperlocal information that the clients want without you having to do too much work. I personally really like them, so we're going to dive in. We're going to start in contacts and command. So I'm in my contacts right now. And I'm going to come down to the contact that I'm going to be, the record I'm going to be editing today, which is going to be my Cinderella contact. Okay. We're going to go, she doesn't have her primary address assigned to her. So we're going to add her primary address. This is a general best practice. If you know their home address, add it onto the contact record for numerous reasons so that you have a full contact record. But also, if you add their primary address, it will automatically tag the neighborhood that they live in, that address is within. So it'll save you a little bit of time and a little bit of work to give them information that's local to them, that is relevant to them. So I'm going to hit the little pencil so I can edit this contact record. I'm going to hit add more information and additional contact information to get to address. 12 South State Street. As I start to type in the address, it generates a drop-down list. I'm going to choose 12 South State Street, which is her home address. From this drop-down, you're going to want to choose the address from the drop-down, preferably, if it matches. And I really haven't had too many issues of addresses not matching. You do have an option to override it manually if you need to, if the address is not coming up, but generally you want to pull from the drop-down because that is the address that Command understands. It makes it a little bit easier for the neighborhoods aspect. So we have assigned her primary address. We're going to go ahead and save this contact record. And it should refresh the page, and it will tag her primary neighborhood as Newtown Borough. And while it's doing that, we're going to start talking about adding in additional neighborhoods. So general rule of thumb, I'd add in a couple neighborhoods in addition to the one that they live in, add a couple that are around them. Gives them a broader picture, gives them more to engage with. They're interested in it anyway of what's happening, a couple blocks over. So give them what they're looking for. So we'll see here how it automatically tagged Newtown Borough as the neighborhood that Cinderella lives in. We're going to hit add neighborhood to start adding in a couple more. If you know the name, you can search for it in the search bar. Personally, I think it's easier and I like the interface a little bit better for find on map, just because that's kind of how my brain works. I like the feature that it gives you a search bar where I can put in the address to basically draw my pin on the map. So 12 South State Street, draw my pin on the map so that I can start selecting neighborhoods around that pin. So you can put in an address, or you can put in, your city, state, Newtown, PA, and it'll start giving you kind of landmarks to basically to zoom in on the map in a particular area, and then you can start selecting around it. So that could be for contacts that you might not have their, exact street address, but, roundabouts where they live. Oh, I know they live in Levittown, so I'll just choose a couple neighborhoods around there, or Langhorne, and I'll choose a couple neighborhoods around there that is close to what they'd be interested in. But we're going to use this as if we know their address. So I'm going to do 12 South State Street. And here's my pin for 12 South State Street. I'm going to zoom in on the map because you'll notice as I was super zoomed out, I really wasn't seeing much in the way of neighborhoods. You have to zoom in further. They're pretty small. So you'll see now that I've zoomed in a bunch, I get a better picture of what's in the area. So where our pin is, 12 South State Street, is in Newtown Borough. You'll see these green outlines are our neighborhoods. And when I hover over them, it gives me the names. If I click it once, it will select it as a neighborhood assigned to this contact. So I'm going to select Newtown Borough, Roberts Ridge Park, and this one up here. Let me drag and move forward. This one's Newtown. I'm going to select that. I'll show you how if I added one on that I didn't want anymore. So we'll say Newtown Gate. I've selected that one. I decided that, I don't really want to add this one on there. I can remove it with these bubbles down here. And I have a little X, and I can take it off. So I have these three. It's a pretty big radius. I'm going to take that and save that to the contact card as their neighborhood. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And it's going to refresh. and show me a map, refresh the neighborhoods up here with a list of the neighborhoods that are attached to this contact card. You can change them at any time by searching for a neighborhood in the search bar or hitting the Find on Map button and doing the same thing that we just did. Once it refreshes, I'll show you how you can remove them. It also gives you suggested neighborhoods in the area that if you wanted to quickly add another one in, you could click any of these links and just add it onto that contact card. Let me scroll up and show you the neighborhoods that we attached to this contact. We have Newtown Borough, Roberts Ridge Park, and Newtown. So let's see what this neighborhood snap page looks like. I'm going to hit preview, which is basically going to be like your agent view of this page. So you can just preview what your client is going to see. You're going to, in the preview, you're going to not have access to all of the functions that your client does. Things like favoriting properties, or you can schedule a tour. Those are going to be grayed out. And that's on purpose in the preview one, because you don't want to, as the agent previewing the site, you don't want to favorite a property and it show up in the contact card and basically end up confusing yourself. So don't panic when you see functions that don't work in the preview. It will work in the fully live version. And as this page loads, I'm going to explain the difference between these two links under neighborhoods here. So we have our map and the neighborhoods that we selected. You have two options: preview, which is what we're going to do right now, literally previewing, and copy link. Copy link would be me copying the URL for this page and sharing it out, manually sharing it out to my contact. So whether I email it to them, or I'm sending it to them in Facebook Messenger, or I'm texting it to them. There we go. Copy link and manually sending it out to them one time. It's not automating it. It would be the time that I sent it to them and hit send. It doesn't happen again until I choose to send it out again. Just assigning these neighborhoods doesn't do anything except for save it to your database. It doesn't send anything until you take the extra step to send something. So we're going to go over that later. But for now, we're going to jump back to that preview page that I opened. Maybe it could be because I'm in a incognito tab. Oh, no, we're okay. All right. So here's our neighborhood page. I have the logos that I've loaded into my account here. It's loading our snapshots. Try jumping over and see. There we go. All right, so over here on the left, we have a map view. Shows the outline of the neighborhood that we're looking at. It's stuck on Newtown Borough. Hold on. There we go. All right, so this is Roberts Ridge Park. So it's giving me the outline of the neighborhood. And over on the right, it's giving the homes that are currently on the market, ones that are pending, and ones that have sold. I did this earlier today with just my neighborhood, which is pretty small. And I was getting a lot of sold properties because there isn't much on the market. My neighborhood is just too small. I think that that's a good thing. That was something new that I saw. I don't know if it's because things are changing, so they're just broadening the snapshot of what people are seeing in some neighborhoods. I think it would change neighborhood to neighborhood. With these that are bigger, like Roberts Ridge Park and the Newtown Borough and Newtown neighborhoods, there's just more activity. And the properties sort by newest to oldest. So newest would be my actives on the market right now, moving to my pendings, depending on how long ago it was added to the MLS. So if it was 5 days ago, 22 days ago, 365 days ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, it sorts at newest first, newest at the top, over here on the right with the properties. They are able to click on the properties and see the MLS information for that particular property. So they're going to be able to see the photos, the description, number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, square footage. I'm going to wait for this to load. Let's see. While we're waiting for this one listing to load, let me show you one other thing on the general neighborhood snapshot page. So what I defaulted to was my neighborhood snapshot and the neighborhoods that I assigned to this contact. This is the snapshot page. I can go up here to the right to the neighborhood stats page. And I can click on each of these neighborhoods to change which one I'm looking at. to show the homes for sale and the pending, how many are for sale, how many pending, the average home price, price per square foot, and days on market. This is usually within the last 30 days, these stats. So, and I've been having this with these widgets. I gotta go through my Kelly guide again, which I will show you guys. So current stats, and then it'll show sold stats. They can choose to search for a commute, either to work, and then they'll show Yelp reviews, pull through Yelp reviews for things in the area. Again, that depends on the neighborhood. Things like Newtown Borough is gonna have a lot more than, you know, my neighborhood that's off of a main road and nothing is over here. So mine had a big old goose egg for Yelp reviews. All right, so let's go back to home. I'm still trying to get this listing to open. We'll open two and see if we'll race them, see which one will open first. Let's try. There we go. All right, so this was one of the properties that I clicked on. Might just be my Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi sometimes is a little spotty. Okay, so this is one of the homes that I clicked on. Here's where I can view the pictures like I can on Zillow, Trulia, the MLS, anything like that. This one's currently active, listed 8 days ago. Here's my listing price. Here's one of those features that I was telling you about that you wouldn't be able to do in your preview. They have the ability to schedule a tour. It doesn't actually schedule a tour. It pushes you a notification saying, hey, Dan clicked on 333 South Lincoln Avenue, said he was available Sunday at 1 p.m. It sends you an email notification and a push notification through Kelly, basically for you to follow up with your client. Especially with the current climate, the conversation would be more of, hey, we can't go see that house right now. But when things are back to normal, you would be able to then have that conversation. Hey, I saw that you were available on Sunday. I went ahead and scheduled that. Let me know if anything changes. But it does give them that availability to quickly tell you when they're available. So details, it brings a description from the MLS. Again, searching for commute times. Showing your stats for Newtown Borough, because that's where this was. They have a mortgage calculator, history, and I like this feature in the neighborhood snap pages that we're looking at. I like that it pulls through similar homes. I think that is really engaging. If I'm clicking on one property and was curious of what was going on with that one, I would probably find myself in a loop of looking at other properties that were similar. And at the bottom, you have your contact box. All right, let's go out of these pages about these properties. One last thing on these neighborhood snap pages, and then we're going to get into how to send it to our clients. They can add their own neighborhoods. This is another feature that I can't do in the preview. They can add their own neighborhood. So if you assigned Roberts Ridge Park, Newtown Borough, or Newtown, and they're like, oh, you know what, I kind of want to know what's going on in Langhorne, they'd have the ability to hit add neighborhood and add as many extra neighborhoods as they want. Any engagement that they have on these pages, and I'm going to go ahead and close this out and go back to my contact card. Since we're in a preview page, it didn't update anything, but when you send this either by copying the link and sending it to your contact by email or Facebook Messenger, or if you send it out through a Neighborhood Nurture Smart Plan, which is what we're going to go over next, you're going to see all of their activity under timeline on each individual contact card. So every property that they clicked on, if they favorited it, if they hit it, if they added an extra neighborhood onto the page, if they wrote you a comment, if they scheduled a showing, all of that's going to show in the timeline for each individual contact. So that's adding the neighborhoods on. Once we have neighborhoods added onto our contact, like I said, you have to take a second step, an extra step for it to actually go out to your contact. If you just add the neighborhoods, nothing happens except for saving it. If you wanted to go to your contact in some sort of way, you'd either have to copy the link and paste it, send it out to them one time. That would be send it out today, and then if I want it to go out again, I have to either automate it or manually go through and do it again. But let's go ahead and talk about smart plans, which would be automating this process. So if this is the first time that you're adding smart plans onto your command, you're going to have to go to smart plans first. So you're going to go over, it looks like a little sheet of paper with a gearbox. We're going to hit smart plans. Okay, and if you don't have anything running in smart plans, this is going to be blank. There's going to be nothing here. We're going to go over to library. It's going to be something that I'm going to want you to do first. So library, you're going to want to go to Smart Plan Kelly Guide. You're going to click this blue button and do this first before you add anybody to these smart plans. It's going to make sure that your branding's right, that your phone number is showing correctly, that the right email's on there, that your website's right, that your social medias are correct. Make sure that everything's configured in the right way. So make sure that you're doing that Kelly Guide first. Once you have your Kelly Guide done, you're going to be smart plans in library. Basically, this is like the Keller Williams library is the Keller Williams templates of smart plans. They created, the workflows for a few different smart plans in here. We're going to focus on the neighborhood nurtures today. So you have biweekly neighborhood nurture or monthly neighborhood nurture. We're going to do biweekly as our example. You can hit view steps and see the steps. These ones are pretty simple. It's send out the neighborhood nurture email, wait 14 days, and do it again. To add that smart plan to your account so that you can start sending it to people, you will have add smart plan. It'll be blue, kind of like this one. You'll be able to click it, give it a name. This part's grayed out where it says please select the category. It's coming soon. It's going to be where you can choose like trigger events. So, if a contact gets added, then they automatically go on this smart plan. That's not available yet. So you're going to skip that whole part and you're just going to hit apply. But on the biweekly neighborhood nurture one, so you would hit add smart plan. I have already put this one on my account. So that's why it's grayed out for me. I can't click it because you only have to do it once. You don't have to add it in a bunch of times. So I already have this on. Once you have your smart plan, you hit add smart plan and brought it in. It'll show up in my smart plans. So my biweekly is maybe right there. Right there, my biweekly neighborhood nurture. It'll show a little line because you don't have anybody attached to it. I'm going to show you the easier way to add your contacts onto these smart plans, especially if you're just starting out. So the most important thing that we were doing in smart plans for today was we were doing our Kelly Guide under library, and we were in library kind of copying this biweekly or monthly neighborhood nurture smart plan to our account. Once we've done that, we have to go back to contacts, and we're going to start adding in the contacts that have neighborhoods. My advice is, as you're going through your database and you're cleaning it up and you're updating contact records and you're adding in these neighborhoods for these contacts, you can either work one by one. So let's go back to that Cinderella contact. My Cinderella contact, I added in that neighborhood, those neighborhoods today, and now I want to add her on a smart plan. I can go over to the right here, click the Smart Plans tab, and I'm going to get this big blue button that says Add to Smart Plan because she's on nothing else. It's going to list all the smart plans that are associated with my account. So if all that you have associated with your account is this biweekly or monthly smart plan, that's fine. You're going to select which one you want to do. So we'll choose biweekly. It's going to give you an option. Do you want to start it right now, which it'll send out pretty shortly after you click confirm, or do I want to start it in a couple days? The only reason I choose to start maybe in a couple days is if I was going to reach out to all these contacts first, that I was going to send them an email. Hey, I don't want to spam you with information that you don't need, but what neighborhoods are you interested in? I'm going to send you neighborhood updates. Is that something that you want to see? Maybe I want to reach out to them first with like a personal email. Hey, how you holding up? I have been getting a lot of questions about what's going on in the real estate market, and I want to be able to provide you information of what's going on in your neighborhood. Just a snapshot, an overview of everything that's going on, actives, pendings, things that have sold within the last few years, so that you have that information at your fingertips. that would be the only time that I would choose to start on a date in the future, is if I was going to reach out to them first. If I'm just going to send out the smart plan and automate it, you can just hit start now and it will go out right away. So you would just hit confirm, and don't worry about this big red scary looking text about Twilio. It is not relevant for these smart plans, so you can just skip right on by it, and you're going to hit confirm to add them on. What I want to do now is just take 1 second so that you know what the smart plans look like. My advice and what I did was I put myself in my database and I added myself onto one of these smart plans so that I can see what it looks like. I think that's the best way to do it, so that you know what, if you know what your clients are seeing and what your contacts are seeing, you're better able to answer questions when they have them. So I'm going to show you what when the email goes out, what it looks like, the smart plan email. So we're going to go over here. Okay. So this is one of the emails that I have myself set up on. In the subject line, it'll say bi-weekly neighborhood update. It will have your branding at the top, say neighborhood trends, and then it's going to list, I think it's 1, 2, 3, yes, 3 of the neighborhoods that you assign to them. It'll show a map, the name of it, an overview of the homes for sale, average home price, and average sold price, little cards that show the new listings in that area, and a button that says explore neighborhood. This is the second neighborhood that I attached this contact, and the third neighborhood. If they click the map, these cards with the listings, or explore neighborhood, it will go over to the neighborhood snap page that you created for them, the one that we were looking at before, where it'll show them a map on the left and on the right, all of the listings from newest to oldest. So we're able to click on that. In the Kelly guide, the Smart Plan Kelly guide, you will set up what your reply to email is. So you're going to want to make sure the email comes from you. The email comes from a KW mailer email, but the reply to email is whatever you choose. So make it something that you check, so that if somebody receives this from you and replies back, you know, hey, Caitlin, that was really cool. Thanks so much for sending this over, that you get that email. If they have a question and they email it back to you. That way you get that. You set up that reply to email through the Kelly guide. All right, so that's a general overview. Let me go ahead and stop presenting. That's a general overview of the how to tag neighborhoods to your contacts and the Neighborhood Nurture Smart Plan. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me or Trish. Really love these. I think they're super engaging. So I really hope that this helps.